Packet rates low. I sound like I'm in a cave, and that's because I did a little one finger thing here, like that. This is really hard to do when it's like this because it just doesn't feel like magic to me, which is the point. Because basically, ever since I was a little girl, I've made music. I used to write music down before I understood about computers. So yeah, I mean, I'm 38 now, so I didn't really know about music and computers until I was 12. And then I started using just like MIDI and sound cards that sounded like really bad orchestral, synthesized sounds like flute that didn't sound like a flute and things like that. But that was my palette, and so I did used to kind of layer sounds and create these orchestral things. And that was a great beginning because it enabled me to, instead of having to write stuff down and hope that one day the terrible school orchestra might play some of my music, I could type stuff into the computer and hear it back, and I could start layering sounds. I could start editing sounds, not real audio, but like MIDI sounds basically. And so then, at the age of 15, I discovered real audio recording, and then I started to record my own voice. I started to make songs. I started to record drums and things like that. I learned a bit about production, about reverbs and panning and filtering and all that kind of stuff. And when I was 18, I discovered that I could loop my own voice. So all of those, because I did my first record when I was 18, and then I had to take it out on the road. And one of the hardest things was, how do I take this fully produced, very layered sound and put that on the stage? And it was really difficult. We had Akai samplers that we used, and we didn't have anything like, this kind of digital audio workstations that we do now. So we had to do everything with these cables, and there was a very limited amount of memory. But I did discover this thing called a looping pedal. So I could loop my voice, or anything for that matter, that could go into this machine, and then I could loop that round and round and sing over the top. And we're used to that. We've seen that a million times now. But to me, when I was 18, that was amazing, because I could loop my voice, or I could loop the piano, and then I could go and do something else. I could go over here, I could play the drums, I could go and play the clarinet over a piano loop or a vocal loop. And this was really amazing. But then that kind of got a bit boring. Everybody started to loop things. And it really changes the way that you make music, these bits of technology. Like when I was little, the ability to program sounds into a computer and hear them back shaped the way that my compositions happened, because I had more possibility than I did with the school orchestra. I could affect things. I could change the physicality of that sound by adding effects and reverbs and stuff like that. So then I was doing the looping thing, and then when I went on stage, I would start to gradually but surely have more and more gear that would amass around me. I would have boxes here with faders and knobs and buttons, so I could record myself singing something, and then I could add some reverb, and then I could put a filter sweep on it. But when I'm doing that, I'm completely consumed in that action. My whole body, if I'm doing one volume ride and one movement of a filter, is completely, I can't do anything else. I have to stay here and I have to use this box and I have to do these two very simple actions. But I've got this whole body. And I'm doing this right now. And imagine if, that was able to actually manipulate these sounds, and I could be on the move. I could be completely free of all this gear. And that is what happened, because I discovered that people were starting to make music with gestural interfaces. And one in particular that I came across was a girl called Ellie Jessup, and she had a system called the VAMP system. And she showed me this one simple gesture where she would sing a note, sing something, and then she would catch a little piece of that grain of that recording, and then that would be synthesized into a long note, a tone, and then she would do this, and this would create vibrato. And for me, that was just really amazing, because in one fell swoop, your hands, without getting in the way of your performance, could then manipulate something or record something And my whole brain just exploded in this idea of a gestural language for music, that I could suddenly, make my voice bigger just by moving my arms like this, or I could just record my voice just with a fist, and then releasing it, and then I could pan things left and right. My mind exploded, and I got so excited, and I begged her to work on this system with me, but she was tied to the university she was in and couldn't work on it with me. So I went back home, and I got in touch with my friend Tom, who's a lecturer at the University of West England. And together we began this journey, which are now called the Emu Gloves. And there are now 8 of us. And what I thought was just like going to be pretty easy, because in my head it's like, this is how it should be. And I knew that people, did stuff like this, and they could put, soldering irons together, and they could stitch things, and they could get these, devices and stick them together. I mean, how difficult could that be? But it's really, really difficult. And the most difficult bit about it, actually, was really this software in the end, because this is the kind of patch bay between the gestural interfacing and what lies in here behind, which is what we call Ableton. And here are all the sliders, little slider there moving up and down. And then we've got, buttons we can press on and off. But before the gloves, there was no way for me to do that unless I was pressing a keyboard or a computer keyboard or a MIDI keyboard. And I was really restricted to that place. You have wireless MIDI, and I could kind of attach things onto things and move around the stage. And I have these wireless wrist microphones, which are actually lapel microphones, which I stick on my wrists. So I can record anything like a guitar, I can record the inside of the piano, I can record bells or anything that I'm holding, any percussion things. But again, I always had to run back to base station. So the gloves really sorted me out. And it just feels so amazing. And I just wonder what it would have been like if I was a little girl. What would have happened to my brain? Like, where would I have gone musically? So there's a thing called jellyfish here, purple, yellow. They're the colour of my gloves. So I've got light feedback, so I know what kind of scenes I'm in. Here's a battery meter. This is the IMU, so I can get gyroscope, accelerometer. We don't use the magnetometer. And then also we have inside the gloves themselves, we've got 8 bend sensors. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on each hand. And then I've also got little vibration motors to give me haptic feedback so that I can program them to tell me, now something has come in, now something has gone. Yes, you are in north mode. So right now when I do this, it tells the system that this is north. So anything relative to that is how it gets its information in terms of positional data. So it's not it's relative, not what's the other word? Absolute, exactly. So it's not absolute position. And then another thing that I sometimes do, which I didn't do today because I thought it'd be a little bit problematic, could be, is I use the Kinect, which is a little infrared camera, and I get it to map the stage for me so that I have an extra dimension. But I thought I'd just keep it simple today. But even that was problematic. But anyway, I'll give it a go. So I wanted to share, this idea of Glover. And on the right-hand side here, we've got all of these mappings. So it says fist right, your left, and all of these different actions tell my Ableton software different things to do. So the one that I'm currently using is called Jellyfish. And there you can kind of see me not moving it, because I'm in that. So you can see, it's really delayed. Hello. So I'm moving around the buffer. Oh. Hello. This is Imogen Heap, struggling on stage. So you can see I'm moving around the waveform. And here, the grain interval is getting slower. And that's the grain length. And then I'm panning it left to right. Now, the really amazing thing about Jellyfish is it was created by Adam Stark, who's one of the team members. And it's so amazing because the problem with the software, because I thought, oh yeah, all we need to do is just be able to map things inside the programs that I use, like Ableton, so that I don't have to use a keyboard or, sliders. I can just use my gloves. But the problem with it is I'm trying to fit into a world which is a linear world. It's like up and down, it's an on and off. It's not a 3D space or 4D space with a Connect. It's very like I'm trying to be, a different dimension and trying to make it work within the system here. But the thing about the Jellyfish is he's thinking about that already. So we have to kind of time and distance and the panning and the volume and everything. So until people start to think about software, music software, in terms of gesturally playing with them, it's always going to be really hard for people like me to try to program existing workstations like Ableton with the programs that currently exist. But soon we will, because people are already starting to think gesturally. It's just as the market kind of, like the Kinect and the Mayo and the whatever else, other types of gestural interfaces there are, start to pick up, then it will just become norm. So I wrote this song called Me the Machine, which I'm not going to play all of, but this is where I began with it, because I wanted to be able to make music with the gloves. But at the time, we hadn't really developed anything. So I wanted to begin by getting it outside of this max patch, which was really impossible for me to program because I'm not a coder, and to try to get it into something like this, or Glover, so that I could access Ableton. And so I'm just going to... I'm not getting any packet. It's really delayed. Oh, my God. So with my right finger, it's just not working. Oh, God's sake. 57. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, that's because I've been talking, right? Everyone's just gone online and just kind of done their emails and stuff, because I've been nattering on. Can we go back to the original state that we were in, where it creates a nice flat line, and then I'll just play you a song. That'll be great. Anyway, so on my right, I've got notes. I'm holding the notes. Oh, dear. Okay, we've got a bass line on my left now. You can see the filter here. And this is the volume between two different sounds. And when it works, it's really good fun. I've got no. Look. Okay, right. It's really hard to give a demo when it doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to try and play you a song and just see what happens. Maybe I'll get lucky. I'm going to play you a song called Breathe In that I wrote with my friend Guy. I was in a band called Frou Frou once, and this was our kind of first single. And I'm doing it because ultimately the direction that I want to go is to be able to freely improvise and just feel like I'm really in the flow of making music, and I'm not thinking about 4/4, or I'm not thinking about clicks, I'm not thinking about, looping things in structures. I'm really able to go from one thing to the next and quite freely have many, many options at my fingertips. At the moment, that's not possible. But what is possible is to recreate a song like Breathe In and play it entirely with the gloves, which would be completely impossible for me to do alone without having a backing track, which I don't have a backing track. But I do have a way of looping things and then playing over the top of them. So let's see if the packet rate is going to give me half a decent chance. Okay, I'll do my best. But you have to bear with me because it won't be good. Du-du-du. Okay. So I've just told it that I'm now ready to play, so that's why they're green, just by waving my hands up in the air. And now I'm going to set north by doing double rock sign. I forgot to mention that. So the bend sensors, when you calibrate them, you kind of scrunch your hands up and down, and it remembers where the kind of extreme points are, the kind of the ends of the flexes that you're doing at that particular day. And then you've taught the Glover software what postures you want it to read. So I used fist, open hand, 2-finger point, pinch, puppet hand, 1-finger point, secret finger, and rock. And they're the postures I use. But anyone can use whatever they like, and they just name them whatever they like. But they're the ones that I quite like. Except today I'm having particular problems with pinch, which means that I'm probably going to not be able to bring in a certain sound. Look, it's not working. Pinch is not working. No, it's not working. No, oh well. I'm going to have to manually put something up in the mix because it's not working. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And now hopefully I won't need to look at the computer at all for this song. And let's see what happens. I'm dreading this. Da-dum dum ba-da-dum ba-da-da-dum dum ba-da-dum ba-da-da-dum dum ba-da-dum ba-da-da-dum dum ba-da-dum da-da-dum 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 dum ba-da-dum. You just can't do that when it's... You just can't do that when there's no packet rate. Okay, this is going to be the weirdest beat in the world. There's just no way around that. That's because the packet rate isn't hitting. So basically, every time I hit, which usually there's no problem with it at all. God. Well, excuse the beat. It's gonna catch on. This is Paris. There's gonna be like there's gonna be a whole thing about it. Okay. Pinch isn't working. Weirdest gig ever. I read you. God, I'm good at it. I'm so spot on. Chord shapes in it. Compress that dissonance if you dare. And I read you. God, I'm good at it. Now what was the question? Now what was the question? And I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhaling. And I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhaling. 'Cause I love you, no. Can't help but love you, no. What part of no? Don't you understand? I've told you before. Just get off my case. This isn't happening. Stop this now. And where was I? I have to be somewhere. Now where did I put it? I'm high enough from all the waiting. That bit's really good normally. Ride a wave on your inhaling. And I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhaling. 'Cause I love you, no. Can't help but love you, no. 'Cause I love you, no. Can't help but love you, no. Is this it? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is this it? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is this it? Whoa. Is this it? Whoa. Is this it? Whoa. Is this it? Yes. Hello, we're back. And we're taking calls. Now, what was the question? I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhaling. And I'm high enough from all the waiting to ride a wave on your inhaling. 'Cause I love you, love you, love you, love you. 'Cause I love you, love you, love you, love you. 'Cause I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Well, thank you. Yeah, so I was going to do another song, but I really just don't think I can. So I'm just going to be self-indulgent for a moment and just play with the jellyfish for like 2 minutes. And on my left hand, I've also got reverse, and on my right hand, I've got some reverb. And I'm just going to do that for 5 minutes, just because I want to leave the stage on a good vibe for myself. So I'm just going to do that for a bit. I've got no signal at all. Oh dear. Look at that. Look at that humongous drop. This is not good. If anyone has lots of money in the room, what we really, really need to do is to figure out a solution for situations like this. When you're at home and you're just in your, or you do a small venue and there's like 100 people in the audience, not a problem at all. Brilliant shows, no problem at all. But when you're coming into a big environment like this, a conference where there's tons of Wi-Fi, it's a complete nightmare, which is really annoying because ultimately people at tech, conferences want to see the gloves, and that's when they don't work because of the Wi-Fi problem. So if you have lots of money and you would like to help us, one of the things we really need to do basically is to have a solution for an off-the-shelf glove, because these are going to be on the shelf in hopefully next year, for a much cheaper price than they are at the moment. So for kind of everyday jobbing musicians can buy a pair for hopefully under a couple of grand. But on top of that, we'd like to do a performance pair. But obviously, this is just not going to work out for anyone doing anything bigger than like a couple of hundred. So for that, we need to invest in RF technology, radio frequency technology, because it's completely fine. Nobody uses RF on their phones, and it's really solid. So to send data over radio frequency, which we have done. Actually, Ariana Grande has done that. She's using it on her tour, but it's very expensive to do it one time. So yeah, if anyone wants to get in touch with us about that, that'd be great. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can get this to do anything. Hello. That was fun for me. Okay, sorry about that. Better luck next time. Goodbye.